This is a. Let me just try and move this out of the way. Boy, I'll move it over here. This is a story that I saw, I think, a couple of days ago. For some reason, it's popped up again because I think that this particular woman, is supposed to be going for trial. Now, as you can see, woman allegedly cuts off sleeping man's penis with garden shears. So this woman is being regarded. There's this woman. Apparently, she's blonde, Argentinian, and she's got, some little stars. Obviously, likes attention. She's apparently Argentina's version of the woman Bobette, who cut off her husband's penis while he was asleep. And this woman did the same thing. I think it was last year. And when it was last year, she was arrested. She's 26 years of age, and she was arrested following the gory attack at her swanky pad somewhere in Argentina, where she claims she was sexually assaulted by the person. I think the lover. I'm not sure who this person is, but let's read. She let him into her apartment because he's someone who's in a rock band and is an acquaintance of her brother, said her lawyer. Once inside, he attacked her sexually, and she assumed a defensive attitude. Okay. The victim, identified only as a 40-year-old man, is still hospitalized for the very serious injuries to his manhood, according to the prosecutor. He's very likely lost the ability to father children, she said. The man's lawyer denies his client sexually assaulted this woman, claiming the two had been dating for months and were playing a sexual game at the time. They were in the middle of things. He wasn't asleep. They began with a sexual game in which he was blindfolded. So she obviously looked at the opportunity to cut his nuts off at that. I mean, we're making a joke. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. And I'm very serious about it. Because we're getting instances of women cutting men's penises off and stuff like that. And a lot of the time, these guys haven't been violent to women, to the women they were with. They just got jealous about something. This particular woman now admitted, I think later on, that it was because he had shared a sex tape of them. And so, if that's the case, this justified her cutting his penis. She's mentally ill. That's it. Finish. She's sick in the head. The Bobbitt woman was classed as insane as well. She accused the guy of beating her up and all sorts of business things, etc., etc. Maybe it did occur, but I'm really, I'm going to put this message out to men, young men. There was an incident here in London of a university graduate. No, I don't know if she's a graduate. A girl who's going to one of the top universities. I don't know if it's Oxford or Cambridge. Stabbed her boyfriend in, I think it's the thigh, with a knife over some silly little argument. She'd lost her temper and got the knife and stabbed him in his leg. What's happened about that? Has she gone to jail? No. No way. That girl has not gone to jail. And the reason why? Because the judge said it would be a crime to see this girl, brilliant mind, go to jail. You see, there are many instances where women do things and literally get away at times with murder. There are men in prison who are innocent. They've been there 10, 15 years. And it's when pure evidence come out to find that that person, it wasn't that same person, DNA test, to prove that it wasn't him who'd done that. And it actually the person, they then find the person who has done it, yet that person's been there for 10 years. All right, that's miscarriage of justice. But there was a story I'd heard of, again, it's in America. I think it was two women that went on a rampage, they killed several men. Very unusual, apparently. They killed several men with an axe. When they caught up with these girls and they were arrested, it went to court. This is the 1920s, 1930s. The girls were in court. When they were in court, it got flung out of court because the judge did not believe that these women did it. Didn't believe that women committed murder. So he didn't believe they did it. And they literally got away with murder. See, it's not always women use massive violence to kill. It's been known that women use poison, use other means to get to the person, to kill people off. You know, this notion that women don't commit crimes at all is part of the condition that we go through in society. I had for years and years and years and years and years always assumed that 100% of domestic violence was committed by men to women. It never ever occurred to me that women committed domestic violence to men as well. I think, in fact, I remember I heard on the radio of a man who came on the radio and said that he used to get regularly beaten up by his wife, and I used to laugh at him. I actually laughed. I said, "No, I don't believe it. You're a weak man." But what it was that this man didn't believe in hitting women. And that's the reason why he didn't fight against her or hit her at any point. There are guys who've go through the same thing. Get hit with a frying pan, have been scarred. But a lot of these things, when it goes to get them getting prosecuted, the guy drops the charges. But when it's the other way round, that woman, that 95% of the time, that guy is going to go to prison. Because the woman now becomes the victim. The woman realizes that she's now in power. And that originally she was the perpetrator by nagging him, by calling him all sorts of stuff. So when eventually, maybe after a year, 2 years of this, he suddenly flips. And then he takes control of the situation. Then he starts to become the perpetrator and starts getting angry at any point. And he sees that the person who was a persecutor of him, and he's flipped it, becomes now the person supposedly becomes the victim. I know. In fact, I heard the radio couple of years ago. In fact, I think it's now in law that if a man, I tell you about, you can now go to jail if you psychologically abuse a woman, your wife, your partner, etc., etc. Not physically, but psychologically. You can now be reported by that woman to the police, and you can go to jail. Yet, the report didn't say if you're a man or a woman. It just said if you're a man and you psychologically abuse your wife, your girlfriend, or whoever it is, you can be put into prison. What about the women who do this? Because now you're not using strength. There is no strength involved. It's just your mouth. What happens to them? Nothing. Unless a guy really brings this up in court. See, I've been under the impression for all these years that women never abuse men, but it's always been the other way around. Yet I've seen reports in Australia, 35% of men have been abused by their partner. 35%. I was shocked by those figures. And those figures are those men that are willing to come forward. So it could even be higher than that. 35%. So that blew that theory out of the water that men, men are the only people that do the abusing. Women do the abusing. In fact, there's a woman called Erin Privy. Great woman. Really bright, very intelligent. And she was the first person in the world to open a shelter for women. But it wasn't a shelter for women when it first started. It was a morning club for women who had children, to give them something to do. Because back in the early 70s, before women came into work en masse, literally en masse, because that's why you're seeing all this sort of sexual abuse nonsense, and because men and women are working together like they've never worked before. This is the first time in history where men and women have really worked together. If you look at developing countries where generally there have been defined roles, the women go to look after the children, they may have gone to the farm, and there are certain things that women do, and the men used to have certain roles. They guard the home, they look after, protect the children, etc., etc. There were defined roles. When women came into, literally, late 60s through to the 70s, started to come into the workplace in a heavier way, I believe those were signs by men who traditionally did a lot of the clerks, back used to be predominantly men. Now you go into a bank, insurance company, all these kind of now what are classed soft jobs, virtually 90% are women. 90% are women. We need to be very careful of because I don't think if women get what they want, which is to bring crashes into the middle of businesses and to force companies, small companies as well as big, middle-sized and big companies, to have crashes in their establishments paid for by the companies. Okay, paid for by the companies, so that women then can. This will come law. I believe it will come law in the future. It will become law that companies will have to have a creche, and for the female employees who have children, and they will pay for it. They will be made to pay for it. why should a company pay for your child? It's nothing to do with the company. They're employing you to work for them, so you get money in your hand, so you can go and do whatever you want with it, but not for the company to pay. If they want to do that, that's entirely up to them. If they want to do that, that's entirely up to them. You know. Women are not happy in Silicon Valley because 30% of the workforce in Google is women. They want that 50-50. Even though there's a company set up by two men, they want that company to be 50-50. It seems to me that all businesses, male businesses in the future, will be forced to have at least half its employees will have to be women. Will have to be women. What about the hospitals, where 90% of nurses are women? How are they going to go about reducing that number to 50%? There are a number of things that you see where the so-called, where women are being discriminated against and badly treated in the West, in England, in America, in Australia, in New Zealand, Canada. Women are very, very, very badly treated, really badly treated. Forget the Middle East. Forget the Middle East. In America, in Britain, women are very badly treated. That's why this woman had to cut this man's penis off. Because she's a woman, and traditionally in society that we live in, women are so really badly treated. Very badly treated. The fact that we won't let them go to war. Okay. That in World War I, it was all men. World War II, it was all men. And that's very bad. That we don't draft enough women into the armies today. That's what shows you what a terrible, bad society that we live in today. Women are so badly treated in this country. We do not have enough CEOs in these big companies that are women. The feminist movement wants to have all big businesses have boards, half men, half women. That's what they want. The great evils of feminism. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a rant there. Let's get back to this. This particular the lawyer confirmed that the pair knew. So it's been confirmed the pair knew each other. She said the shear welding. She said the shear welding architect was undergoing a psychiatric evaluation and test to determine if she was raped. What I can say is that the man wasn't tied up when police arrived. Well, no, I mean, she may have tied him up. And then, I don't know. He was helped by neighbours first, and then by paramedics who arrived after police. So local press have classed as the Argentinian version of Bobbitt. For the Virginian woman who infamously hacked her husband's member off with a knife while he slept. So they can't do these things while men are walking about awake. They do it while they sleep. And this was in 1993, following years of alleged beatings and rape. Bobbitt was found not guilty due to insanity. Oh my God. And her case made headlines worldwide. I need to read that story again. I haven't seen it for a number of years. It's quite a long time, 1992. But the point is that there are some other pictures I've seen of this woman. Loads of Instagram, pictures of her. She's clearly a woman who's seeks attention, likes attention. I've seen her in a bikini. She's 26. We don't really know the full story now. One minute she said it was due to a sexual assault. Next minute, in another section I've seen that she said it was because he had handed sex tapes of them to his friends, shown them to his friends. So this is a good reason to cut someone's penis off. Wow. Apparently, this whole that she could go to prison for 15 years. She ain't gonna get 15 years. I mean, she does. Yippee! That will be proper justice. I mean, she'll get 15 years. It'll probably do 7 years. Well, this is Argentina. We don't know what their judicial system is, but I doubt if she'll get into prison. I really doubt. I saw of a woman again in Argentina. This was being recorded from someone across the road of a man and a woman. The guy was sitting down. It was out, there was tables outside. Clearly a sunny, beautiful sunny day. And the woman had gone mental. She was just gone completely apeshit. Screaming at the guy, shouting at the guy, slapping the guy on numerous occasions. Not one person intervened. No woman, no man intervened. This woman consistently hit him. Nobody intervened. I think after about the 5th or 6th hit, the guy, I think he slapped her. Dun, dun, dun! Out jumped the white knights. And everyone, cut a guy or couple just suddenly jumped in. And I think got the guy by the throat or by the shirt, you don't know. Even though in broad daylight amongst the public, this guy was being hit by this woman, and nobody did anything. Nobody thought to do anything to stop this woman. Say that her behaviour is childish and vile, and you don't hit people. Yeah, the moment he slapped her back, one hit, that was it. The white knights all jumped out. This is the thing I've noticed in society, that someone look at Saatchi when he was having an argument with, I think, his then wife Nigella Lawson, and he got her by the throat, and all this suddenly, women are abused everywhere in the world because of men. We don't know I can't remember what the argument was about. There may have been an issue. She may have been disrespectful to him. All sorts of things. But women can get away with this nonsense that women are weaker than men. Has got to stop. Women are not weaker than men. You can see in the Olympics that women are doing shot putting, women are doing discus throwing, women are doing throwing javelin, women are boxing now, women are doing judo. They've been doing that for years and years in the Olympics. You see it. Taekwondo, kicks, you name it. Why is it that people think that women are weak? Women are not weak. I see women running every day. You can go to the park today and you will see, out of 10, there will be 8 or 9 women will be the ones that are running, and there will be a couple of guys running. You will see more women running in the street than you will see men. You go to the gyms. you'll see more women going to the gyms than you'll see men. It's funny, in the 70s when they banned women from going into the I think it was the Gold Gym, screamed and shouted that women should, have been discriminated against. Yet, I worked in a female-only gym. Why is it that you can have, in this day and age, a female-only gym? Yet, if a man was to apply for a license to open a male-only gym, I bet you he'd be turned down. We live in a stupid, bastard, hypocritical society in today. We live in a society that's purely the affirmative action. I've always said, once I understood what affirmative action was, and I was 18 at the time, we black people can't get work, da da da. And I spoke to a guy who explained to me what affirmative action was about. And I sort of said, yeah, I know what you're saying, but, I think, it's still wrong that we black people. But when I went away and I sat down and I thought about it, black people need to... sorry, I'm not going to talk about that. That's another subject for another day. Getting back to this issue, I keep jumping from one side to another. But this particular woman is mentally ill. Now, if the guy's trying to save this girl by saying it was a sex game gone wrong, again, he's an idiot. I mean, but then it could have been. But why would he say that? Yet she's saying that it's, one, it was sexual abuse. Now she's saying, two, it was to do with him showing people sex tape. But they can't find it. They can't find it, apparently. So something's going on. I think she's not well. Many people's mental illness doesn't always come through. If you're a person, I don't know, she's really pretty, she's got a lot of makeup on. But people in society who have certain, if you're a good-looking person, some people's mental state, mental illness doesn't always come through. Because they have a certain power. Handsome people, good-looking people, but can behave oddly. But because of their status, they're good-looking, people desire them, they are able to get away with the illness that they have. Because they do, people admire them, and they see that and they understand that, and that helps to negate, I suppose, some of their mental problems that they have. But I'm just sick and tired of this constant thing that women are not capable of doing harm to anybody. We see every day what women do. There was a nurse in the UK killed some old people. She was a nurse, and it transpired she killed with poison or with giving the wrong medicine. She deliberately killed quite a few elderly people. What's that about? It wasn't one or two, it was quite a few. And the reason why is because of the position that women are in society. Women are held on a pedestal. In the West, women are held on a pedestal, and they know it. They know it from when they're at school, from secondary school, until about 40 years of age. Depending on the condition of the woman, she keeps herself in good condition, fairly good. She can still get, if she's a famous woman at 45, she could still get, a young guy of 22, 23, that kind of thing. Your position in society is all about how good you look and how other people perceive you. But women are in this society put on a pedestal. Today, women have more rights than men. Those are facts. If we could lay those rights out in front of everybody, and you will see that women have far, far more rights than men. One of those rights is parental rights. That's one right that men don't have. 80% of divorce cases, the woman gets the children. 80%. Most of those are probably when the woman is dying. I mean, Mr. Khan had an affair with the woman. He denied it, and she'd gone at him through the papers and this and that in a really nasty way. And then she was diagnosed with cancer, and she now the situation changed, and she was now behaved in a much more conciliatory way. Or maybe she had the cancer and we didn't know about it. But anyway, Khan ended up, taking the daughter on board. I'm not saying that Khan was right. He was wrong. But the way that the woman went about it was wrong as well. Two wrongs don't make a right, as they say. So, but I think position of the women in society, women say that they're badly treated. It's a two-way street, I'm afraid. It's a two-way street. Men are dying earlier from obesity, from drinking, from smoking, from taking high risks, from wars to defend the country from marauders, etc., from prostate cancer that gets half the funding of breast cancer. Yet men die more from prostate cancer than they do of breast cancer. So women are discriminated against, even though they get double the funding of prostate cancer. Women are discriminated against. Yeah, funny old world. This world is really funny, nasty world. That's my take on it anyway. Thanks for listening.